Hey guys, welcome to the first ever episode of the Ocean Chicks Horror Podcast. Yeah, a podcast. I've been working really hard at this, super excited to finally announce it, and here's how things are going to work. So I'm going to do my interviews as an edited video on YouTube still, but you'll also be able to hear the uncut audio version over on my podcast. Podcast's going to be on Spotify and all those other apps and places that you listen to podcasts, of course. And we're also going to have a bunch of the Spirits and Screams live streams as an audio version on the podcast as well. And there'll be some special things on there too. And, some things will be exclusive to this channel as well. So go over and check it out. I have everything linked in the description box below. But without further ado, let's get to this interview. Now, about a month ago I planned this, so I've been waiting for a long time, and Justin finally had a moment where he could sit down and chat with me again. I had so many more questions that I didn't get to ask from the Spirits and Screams live stream that we did about Attack of the Killer Donuts with him and Ben. And so I thought I'll have him back and I can ask him more. So we did that, and here's that video. So sit back and enjoy the show, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome to the Ocean Chicks Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Karen, and today in the broadcast studio we have actor Justin Ray from the movie Attack of the Killer Donuts, and other movies too, but we really love that movie.
I mean,
Hey,
that's
Justin.
most important.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you for having
Good.
me on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you were on about a month ago on our Spirits and Screams live stream, and I wanted to ask you so many questions then, but there was just too many people, so I couldn't really do that. And we had your friend and co-actor from that film, Ben Heyman, on too, right? That was really fun.
Yes, I hadn't seen him in a very long time, so that was really cool to catch up.
My friends and I fell in love with the Attack of the Killer Donuts, so of course I'm going to talk about that a little bit,
Yes,
plus it's horror.
I got myself a mug. Do not ever let me go. This is from the costumers of the set of Attack of the Killer Donuts.
Oh, cool.
Gifts that they gave me and Ben and Kayla, so it was really fun.
Where are you located, and how did you get into acting?
I am now located in Austin, Texas. I had been in LA for about 10 years before I moved here, and originally from San Diego. And I got into acting because of my aunt, Michelle, actually, because I was in high school and I was kind of just not really sure what I wanted to do, like extracurricular activities outside of high school. I wasn't really involved in sports that much. I was just kind of like, I don't know what I want to do.
Right.
And one day she was like, hey, my daughter, which is my cousin, Danielle, she's like, she's going to audition for this youth theater program. You should just audition with her. I think you would like it. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll try it.
Yeah.
And it's like the day of the audition, like something just ignited inside of me that I didn't know I would enjoy performing and acting and stuff. And then that audition day kind of just changed the trajectory of my life, kind of.
Right.
And I hadn't, ever since that audition, I haven't stopped pursuing performing on any level. So it's kind of, that's where it started, really. So musical theater is really where it started for me. And yeah. And so I quickly learned through doing musical theater that I had a natural instinct for dance, and I didn't really know that was a gift I had. And then when I got into college, I actually started training in dance, and I progressed pretty quickly after doing I did a dance scholarship at this studio in San Diego for 8 months, where I took 10 dance classes a week.
Right.
And then like dancing kind of became a very strong part of my life, and which kind of pushed me into musical theater. And I did musical theater for many years.
Wow. You know, it's strange. When I was a kid, I did about 10 years of dancing too.
Oh, yeah?
I could have gone professional, we were in a smaller town in northwestern Ontario, and my teacher moved to Toronto. So she invited us, each one of us, out in the summers to go, kind of pursue it further. Some of my friends went on with it, but it was high school time, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of into boys and, roller skating. I think I'm going to just leave it. But yeah, I took tap, jazz. We did a little bit of ballet, but mostly tap and jazz and that kind of thing. Lots of summer schools and stuff. And I was really good at tap dancing.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, those are great memories. Like it was so cool. We'd go to summer schools in Toronto and get taught by some of the bigger teachers. And it was really cool. And my teacher, she has, I don't know if she's still called that, but the Margot Hartley School of Dance and Bojangles and that kind of thing. And she worked with Brian Foley. I don't know if you know him, but anyway, she's still active, and she's put out a lot of really great talent that has gone far. That's since great. Then, years ago. We were like the first little tiny group that went to the rec center in my small hometown and started doing the dancing and stuff. And yeah, I get that you enjoy that because it's a lot of fun. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So do you do that kind of thing still with the acting, or acting's your full-time gig, right?
Yeah, well, acting and now producing. My brother and I have a production company here in Austin.
Oh,
actually. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we do our own. So I do. I edit. I sometimes direct. I sometimes write. So like, it's just all in the encompassing of the entertainment industry, basically.
Right.
So which is great because I get to keep that creative stuff going, even if I don't have an acting gig at the time.
Right.
But yeah, what were we talking about before that?
Dancing.
Oh yeah. So dancing now, I don't train anymore, but I do actually, one of my last gigs with musical theater was in LA before I left.
Right.
I was doing a production of Rock of Ages.
Oh, cool.
And it's kind of a sad story because it would have been still there if COVID didn't happen.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the one of the producers of the Broadway show of Rock of Ages and the director of the Broadway show and the choreographer of the Broadway show, they all got together to create they rented a venue in Hollywood in the heart of LA. And they actually built the Bourbon Room, which the show is surrounded around. It's around the location of the bar, the Bourbon Room in the show. And so they actually got a space, built an actual functioning bar, and it's called the Bourbon Room. It's still there right now.
Right.
And on the back area of it, they turned the space into a immersive theater show of the show Rock of Ages. So you can go to the bar, hang out at the Bourbon Room, and see the show and have dinner during the show.
Cool.
And they had planned for that to be a staple of LA that was never closed. And so I got to be a part of the original cast of that production, and we officially opened in January of 2020.
Right.
And then that March got shut down. And so, I mean, that was supposed to be like a 10-year run. And,
do you think they'll reopen it? Try it again? No, it's pretty tough, hey?
Yeah, I think they lost so much money on the starting it up.
Yeah.
There just wasn't. We officially got our termination. So they were hold from March 16th, I think, was our first canceled show. And then we were all just on hiatus waiting to see what would happen. And then May 27th, I want to say, we really got our termination notices of the show's not going to continue and where it's done. There's potential that the show, what they did there, might open in Florida and also open in Vegas. They had those conversations while our show was happening, because our production was a proof of concept of what's possible with this particular show and a venue like that. And I do think it would work well in places like Vegas and Nashville and Florida.
Right.
And I know the producer was having those discussions. So there could be at some point in the future another rendition of that type of production.
Right.
but I think the LA one, the Bourbon Room is still there. So if anyone goes to LA, they can actually go visit the Bourbon Room.
Cool.
And that back performing area is still utilized for different, you can rent it for if you're like an artist and want to perform music or whatnot. Like it's a venue that can't be used.
Right.
But yeah, it's unfortunate that
it's a bummer.
It's
kind of scary right now too. I know just when the pandemic hit, I just done a huge movie screening of the movie. What did I do? Sharkwater Extinction. And I had the mayor was like sending us a letter of congratulations. I had all the restaurants in town, all the vegan restaurants. It was huge. And I was like, oh, this is my new thing. This is what I'm going to do. It's so cool. And then the pandemic hit. And I'm at a stage now where I don't even want to fire it back up again because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And it takes months to plan these things.
Right.
And you invest a lot into it. So yeah, that's a bummer, but you never know. Things could turn around for your show and it could happen again,
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, for me, like, I loved that I got to be a part of that. And like the cast, and we were all so close knit. And it was such a roller coaster experience because like getting started, they had some major issues with the location. It wasn't ready when we were ready for it. So we were all like waiting for it to open. So it was like a long process, like months and months and months before they got that show on its feet.
Right.
And so the cast, because of that, the cast was like a really tight bond, and it was just so sad. Like, and then we finally opened and then shut down. But for me, with theater, like I don't pursue theater unless something like that, because that just made sense. I was living in LA and I didn't really want to go to New York. I didn't want to go on tour. I was kind of I focused on the TV film side of things, but that was like a location in LA and it was only performing at night. So it's like, oh, this is a perfect gig for an actor because I can stay in Hollywood, do a musical theater show, but then still be able to audition for everything.
Right.
But so for me, like with theater right now, I'm not pursuing it, but I'm in Austin, but there's a youth theater in Houston that I'm actually involved with. And I go there pretty often every year to teach dance and to choreograph productions. I'm actually going there this June to do their teen summer camp. I've done that for the past 6 summers. This is my 7th summer, I think.
Yep.
So I direct and choreograph for their teen summer camp.
Wow. I bet you that's really cool for those teenagers to be able to do a class with you. And I know for myself, we would get to be part of summer schools. It was so meaningful. I still remember those moments, like, really special. It's great that you do things like that because you're inspiring people to kind of pursue their art, their artistic side. And that's very cool because life is not like that so much anymore.
No.
I don't know about the States, but I know in Canada, quite a few years back, the government cut the budget on the arts. So it's not really, it's not as easy to do that kind of thing. I have an art degree as well. And, you just have to be creative and do whatever you can. But people like you, it's really great that you're still inspiring that. You did a movie called One Chance to Dance in 2014.
Yeah.
And then Ben mentioned he liked that movie too. Tell us about that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So that is it's like a teen dance kind of rom-com, I guess you would say. It's like, it's geared towards the tween girl age. It's like, it's a very kind of hallmarky, but for kids, like for teen, it's cute. It's 2000, man, that feels like such
a long time ago.
Yeah. So I auditioned for that in LA, and I think we shot it around like not too far from LA itself, actually.
Right.
But yeah, it was cool to be able to be. At that point I hadn't done like a high school aged production of any sort, and I always wanted to be, in one of those like high school dramas.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun to be able to be in something like that. Even though I was not in high school at all.
Right. But you look very young.
Thank you. But yeah, I was way too old to be in that movie. But but it was cool to also be able to use my dancing abilities in a movie, because at that point I think I'd done like a short film that had some dancing in it, but that was my first like big gig that actually involved a lot of dancing and acting at the same time.
Right.
So it was I was really appreciative to get that role.
Yeah, I got to see it still. I want to watch that one.
It used to be on Netflix, and then I think their Netflix deal, I think they only had like a 3-year distribution deal with Netflix. And so now I think you can just rent it on like Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure I can find it. I'm sure. I'm going to have your IMDb listed in the description box below so people can check it out too, or whatever other links you want so people can follow you. How many movies have you done?
I think like, including ones that no one will ever know about, probably like as far as features go, I've done about 11 or 12.
Okay.
But some of them, there's no way to see them. One of them for sure was never, my very first feature I ever acted in has never been released.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't turn out very good.
No? What style of movie was it?
It was going to be a horror. It was like a psychological thriller horror.
Right.
And they had big hopes for it. It was my very first feature, it was my very first like lead role of a film. Right. I was very excited about it. And we shot it up in Green Valley Lake, it's called. It's next to Big Bear. So if so if you go up to you're not from here. In California, Big Bear is like maybe
I've heard of it.
It's 2 hours outside of LA, like more east, and then it's up in the mountains, and it's like a very mountainy, snowy town.
Right.
And then next to Big Bear is like the main big area up there, and then a very smaller neighborhood is called Green Valley Lake, and so that was the location of this movie. And we went up there and just stayed in cabins and shot this horror film.
Cool.
They couldn't sell it. It wasn't scary. Everyone they tried to sell it to says it's not scary enough for a horror film. It's not thrilling enough for a thriller. So like they didn't really have a specific genre that it really fit into.
Right.
And I think it was also a little bit too early when it comes to all these different streaming networks. Right. So I think now, if they made that movie now, it might be able to be seen, because it was like, you can throw something up on Amazon Prime. But at that time, I think this was back in, what was this, 2011 maybe?
Okay.
Maybe 10. I think maybe 2010.
Yeah.
It just wasn't.
I'm dying to see it now, by the way.
I don't think there's any way. There's like, it's not posted anywhere.
No? Do you get it for your resume at least? Or do you have it to be able to?
I don't know how that works. I have a screener from the director. It's like a low quality burn that he did. It's like a DVD burn that he gave me. Him and the producer, I won't talk about names. They had a falling out, and like the producer grabbed the drive from the director and it's like, you can't have this anymore. There's this, a lot of
controversy
behind that. Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So, but I do have a DVD of one of the edits. I don't think it was the final edit, but it was one of the edits. So, yeah.
Ah, cool. Well, those things happen, and it was a good experience, and you learned.
I was very excited to be a lead in the movie, and that's all I can say about it.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of horror, let's transition into Attack of the Killer Donuts. Because I'm sure there's some viewers or listeners that have not heard of it or seen it yet. So let's talk about that. That movie was so cool. I've watched it a whole bunch of times. It was so much fun. And I was thinking about it today. Why did I like that so much? I think because visually it's a really cool looking movie. And the fact that it's horror and it's funny, it's comedy. I really liked it. So what was it like getting the script to that and reading it and going, okay. Oh, let's first tell everybody what it's about. So it's about these donuts in a donut shop that accidentally get radioactive, and then they grow teeth and they start attacking and killing people. And you and your friends work to try to stop them, right?
Yeah. Okay. We do our best to kill the killer donuts.
Oh, it's so fun. So when you saw the script, what did you do? Go,
Yeah, there's these, so as an actor, when you're not like, you know, a celebrity or anything, or like big resume, you're looking on these acting sites, and you see these postings of like looking for actors for this film. And so then, you know, I submitted. I think what really first grabbed me was just the title. It's like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous, but in the best way. Like, it's like, you know, obviously it's reminiscent of like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And so you're just like, you know, this could be ridiculously stupid in the best way. And so therefore, like, I can get behind doing something like this. Cause it's like, just because of the title, I'm like, everyone's going to want to watch it if they're just like, what? There's a movie about killer donuts? Okay. Yeah. So I remember my manager at that time was like, wait, you're going to do what? I was like, I think it'd be fun. He's like, okay, I guess. Yeah, sure. Why not? It'd be a cold classic. Might as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I think like I submitted just like, you know, this could be a blast. And then I got audition, then got a call back, and it's like, this will be fun. Like the team seemed great. And I remember doing a chemistry read with Kayla, and I was like, she's great. Like this could be a lot of fun. Yeah. So I'm very, very glad I got to be a part of that project.
It was fun. It was fun to do. Yeah. How could it not be fun? It's funny. Donuts with teeth. Come on.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you typically get the lead roles in films? Because a lot of them I've seen you've done a lot of other things too. I haven't seen though, but or do you go for that, or does it just work out that way?
I mean, yeah, it works out that way, but it's also for me, like I submit to most things I'm interested in, whether it's the lead or not. Right. But my archetype of what I kind of feel most connected to when it comes to like films is typically the leading man. Like that's kind of my demographic. Yep. And those types of roles are what I just connect to more. Right. And honestly, like I enjoyed to do them more because there's just more story to tell. Right. I think it's actually hard for actors to do like really small roles that kind of show up in one scene or two scenes and that's it. Right. You don't have like you have to create so much backstory to like make those moments feel full and real. Yeah. But when you have like a full script of like the story you're telling, I don't know. It's easier to like embody what that role is because you have so much information that you're so much story you're telling basically. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that, but okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to ask you something and now I've forgotten my train of thought. How do you prepare for a role? I typically just kind of sit with the script. Yeah. I read the script and then I allow myself to kind of sit with it for the next few days and just kind of just think through the initial arc and the story and kind of just see where it feels like, you know, because for me, like most actors, I think do the same. You try to bring a part of yourself that embodies the role. So you find the parts of you that like fit this character. And for me, that's at least what I do. Some actors like to approach it of like, no, I just, start from nothing and then I build it. It's like, I start from myself and find like, how do I fit into this role? Right. And what parts of me are similar to this character? And then I like accentuate that and then see where I can kind of round out and like add some things that maybe I'm not like. So that's typically what I do is kind of just read the script and then think and just sit and think about it. And I'm like kind of analytical when it comes to that. And just kind of, I like to sit in my head and just like envision the scenes, envision the scenarios, envision like maybe the camera will be here. Like how would I portray what I'm thinking of within this scene? And yeah. And then you just kind of show up on set with film, at least on the level that I'm at right now. And most of the projects I've been in, it's very rare to ever get rehearsals when it comes to film. Oh, really? Yeah. Like theater, plays, that was my start. And like you rehearse everything and you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And then finally you get to perform. With film, you don't. Like, there's not time for that, because when you show up on set, they only have 10 hours of that day to shoot, and they have to get through this many pages of scenes. And so it's like, you show up, you go to hair and makeup, you get your costume on, you get your microphone, and then they're like, maybe block the scene real quick, and then they shoot it. And so you have
That's terrifying.
I love it.
Is it? It's a thrill, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
But so as the actor, you know, and obviously there are other projects. If there's more money involved, then like there is the time to like actually sit with the director and go to the location and like block it out and actually rehearse moments and beats.
Right.
But on the independent level, it's very rare. And so you have to, I quickly learned, like, you have to show up ready to perform and just be able to do it in a second. And then allow yourself to be open to any like adjustments that the director might have. Like, hey, maybe think about this here and think about this there. But oftentimes, I mean, what's great is like, if I come prepared enough, the director doesn't have to spend that much time, then they can move on and get all the shots they want, which is great.
Right. Yeah. 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 Have you ever had moments on sets where people weren't prepared and it was bad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a huge blowout.
Yeah, there's definitely been experiences like that. People just can't remember their lines, or they keep flubbing their lines, or they keep they get nervous and they keep forgetting their blocking. And it's like, in fact, that one movie, the first movie I did, I had that experience where we had to do this scene. Like, it was a very uncomfortable scene about like 8 times, because there was just a small little blocking thing that this other actor couldn't remember. I was just like, head like, get it right. I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, I bet. That would be me. Forgetting everything, going blank. Yeah. So if you were offered a movie, say like Hellraiser, where you have to do a huge transformation into somebody else that you're not, familiar with, and, that kind of thing, would you do that too? Or do you typically like to do drama, the kinds of things that I've seen so far?
Yeah. I am definitely open to
something that pushes the limits for you, takes you out of that comfort zone.
I'm definitely open to most characters. For me, it's more so like, if it's a character that I have nothing, if I can't connect to the character at all, it is a little bit difficult to like want to do that, because I'm like, I don't know that. But if it is a character that I don't connect with, but I love the story of the project, and I love like the message of the film or the story, or like, then that will be enough to like draw me to those types of characters.
Right.
But I have to have something that like,
something you can connect with.
Yeah. But I say that in the sense of, if I'm lucky to be able to be picky and choosy at all times. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes like, a project comes along, I'm like, well, I don't think this is going to be that great, but I want an acting job right now, so I'll do it.
You'll do it, yeah.
But most of the time, most of the projects I've been in, there has at least been something that has been like, yeah, I think I want to do this because I think this would be fun, or I think like, the story's cute, or whatnot.
Yeah.
But, like there's I think the most unlike me character I played would probably. What would it be? Maybe this film I did called Fortune Defies Death.
Okay.
I got to be, I guess I don't want to give it away, but there's like, it's just a side of me that I hadn't been able to do on film yet, which I enjoyed. I really actually loved playing that role.
Right.
The movie, leaves, it's not the best.
Right.
The movie suffers on many levels, but I can say that I really enjoyed the character that I got to be in that movie, even though there was some rough spots in that film.
Bit challenging. What's your dream movie that you'd like to do?
Yeah, for the last, I don't know, like 7 years, I've been looking and like waiting for an opportunity to play a lawyer in a film.
Cool.
I really want to be in a courtroom drama of some sort.
That's cool.
Or a courtroom like thriller, maybe. Like, I love like The Firm. I would love to do a movie like The Firm. That would be a dream, because I don't know. I love the dynamic of being in a courtroom, and I want to play like a lawyer that's in over his head of some sort.
Yeah.
I think that would honestly be my dream role right now.
When I was in my 20s back home, I watched a lot of LA Law and stuff like that. I really loved that kind of television drama type of thing with lawyers and that. I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah.
Or like, what was that movie Al Pacino was in? What was that? And Keanu Reeves.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The
Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool too. Great movies. Oh, that would be really cool. I'd love to see you in that. Hopefully that'll happen.
I hope so too. I would love to be in that. We'll see.
Something will come up. Are things kind of opening up now? Because I know in Canada things are kind of opening up like mad all of a sudden. So more jobs and things coming your way. Somewhat.
Like in Austin, I had just moved here back in 2020.
Right.
So it's the film community here is not obviously nearly as strong as LA. LA is like finally starting to get back into the swing of things. They're kind of out of most of the United States. LA is dragging their feet more than most.
Oh,
yeah. And, but because of that, film has expanded throughout the States more so.
Right.
You're seeing like smaller productions everywhere. Like I have actually just in Reno doing a film a few weeks. I just got back 3 days ago.
Oh, cool.
And, so you're seeing more things pick up all throughout, but Austin still has a lot of growing to do when it comes to production. So hopefully our production company here and more filmmakers from LA actually have been moving here to Austin. Austin is like most other like cities in the United States, other than like LA and New York, like it's booming here. Like the housing market has skyrocketed, and
I've heard
a lot of filmmakers are moving, and a lot of them are here, which is great. So there's a lot of potential. So hopefully things pick up in the here. And I know like with even the Screen Actors Guild, I don't know if does Canada have like a film actors union? I'm not sure what that is. I think they on some level, maybe, I don't know. But the Screen Actors Guild here, they're becoming more lenient when it comes to the rules for COVID on sets, which is allowing more people to like actually want to do more production and stuff. So
right. Well, that's good. That's really good. Can you tell us about anything that you're working on next or that's coming up?
Yeah. So the most recent thing I did is called Target List. We just finished filming that. That was in Reno.
Okay.
Reno, Nevada.
Right.
And it's I wouldn't, maybe not action thrill. It's a comedy with some like thrill to it.
Okay.
I guess I could say.
Yeah.
And the story is about this group of scientists create a cure for cancer, and they announce in the beginning of the film, they announce that they want to open it to the world and allow access to everyone on the planet and make it affordable for everyone so that people can just get cured of cancer.
Right.
Their aim is not financial gain. It is just to save people's lives.
Right.
And then a certain pharmaceutical company does not want this to be released because they make a lot of money off of cancer. And they know that once this product is released to the world, they will lose billions of dollars off of their pharmaceutical stuff. So they decide to hire assassins to kill the team that has created this cure. And that's the movie. That is the story of.
Wow, I'm really interested in seeing that one for sure.
Yeah, but it's a comedy at some level.
But it's funny too.
There's
that seriousness of it.
That's the
heavy
thing.
topic.
And like
I like it.
It's and I think the production company is newer. They're this is I think their second feature.
Right.
So they're growing as a production company, and they've got potential to keep going, and so this is their second film, and I think they adapted this particular script from a book that someone had written. I think it's also called Target List, I believe.
Okay.
And so and I think that initially they had planned on making it just an action thriller.
Right.
and then they cast me, and the other lead actress is this wonderful actress named Rachel League, and she lives in or Alec. I don't know how to say her last name actually. She lives in LA.
Yeah.
And we had a blast. Like, it was so wonderful working with her. We got along really well, which is always great because you never know when you join a project if you're going to really connect with your other counterpart. But we had a blast. The set was so fun. The crew was great. Like, everyone was great. And we brought, I think, more comedy to the film than the directors were initially planning.
Right.
But they liked it. They said
it works.
It's a tone that we want to continue with. So it was going to be an action thriller, and it turned into a comedy, somewhat thrill.
Right. You know, it's interesting because I do a lot of deep dives in movies, and oftentimes people talk so much about the director doing, like, making all the nuances and the thing come together and really pop. But not as many people talk about how that the actors bring that to it, that extra little icing on top of the cake kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, on the independent level too, it's more common, I think, for the actor to kind of have a, to be a participant in, like, the tone of the film, and I think, like, directors, if they're not, like, tunnel visioned into what they want, then it allows for that kind of, like, oh yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, but I actually do like that.
Right.
So it kind of lets it be more camaraderie in that, and collaborative is the word. So.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I love independent films so much. I think it's really cool for that. Yeah, for sure. Okay. I'm going to ask you one last question. It's a really big question. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, goodness. Favorite movie. Okay, well, I have an answer for it, but it's one of those answers that's like, I've just decided years ago that this is my favorite movie, and it's just going to be my answer.
Fair enough.
It doesn't mean I don't love it still, because I do. It's just hard because when new movies come out, you're like, oh, but this movie's great. Oh, but this one's great. So there's like, I got a list of like 50 movies that are like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite movies of all time has been Moulin Rouge.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a beautiful film. I understand with your background why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Nicole Kidman. I love Ewan McGregor. I love the music in that movie. I love how they utilize the music in that movie. The visuals are like crazy, but like beautiful.
Yeah.
And the I don't know, like the heart-wrenching, like, sadness of that film also really got me when I remember I saw it in theaters when it first came out, because like I was doing musical theater at that time, and someone's like, oh, we gotta go see Moulin Rouge. I was like, what are you I don't even know what you're talking about. I haven't seen a trailer for this. So we go, and like the first 20 minutes are just crazy. It's like like nuts. It's like, this is like an acid trip. What the heck is going on? And then after that moment, when he sang Your Song in the elephant to the first time when he met Satine, I was just like, while he was singing that, I just fell in love with them. I fell in love with the story.
Yeah.
And then from that moment on, I remembered in the beginning of the movie, it starts with him saying that the woman I loved is dead. And so the rest of the movie, I couldn't stop thinking, she's going to die. She's going to die. Oh my gosh, she's going to die.
Yeah.
And it just really got me at that time in my life. And I don't know why, but
yeah, no, it's a beautiful film. I hope that they remake it one day and that you get to play Ewan McGregor's part. How cool would that be? I think you'd be really good at that.
I would just die. There's no way. That'd be amazing. They do the Broadway show now.
Oh, do they?
They do. Yeah, it's in New York. I got to see it an early when they were in previews in Boston. I went and saw that with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit, I don't love the Broadway show as much as I love the movie.
The movie, yeah.
It doesn't translate as well, in my opinion, but it's still it's a great experience. But
yeah, you recommend it. Do you sing as well?
I do, yeah.
Oh, good. Well, there you go. See, you're perfect for it. Just manifest it and put it out there.
Right.
Okay, well, I think that's all I have to ask today. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this, because I know you're really busy. And it was really nice talking to you again. I wish you all success in the future, and you can come back anytime you want.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks, Justin. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I sure did. I love talking to Justin. It's a lot of fun. I will have his IMDb linked in the description box below too. And the podcast stuff, don't forget to check out the Ocean Chicks Horror Podcast. Super fun. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up because it helps me a lot, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dive movie reviews, more interviews like this one, and the podcast. You gotta go check out the podcast. And of course, Spirits and Screams live streams on Saturday nights. We've got so much stuff lined up for you guys. It is insane, but it's gonna be so much fun. So turn on the bell notification button when you subscribe so that you get notified when all these cool things are happening, and then you can be the first to come check it out. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Drop your comments down below. I love to chat, and we will see you again soon. Bye, guys.